So we've been in a series called Dressed for the Occasion. And there are seasons in life where we just have to be dressed for what we're doing, right? You don't see chefs in the kitchen with flip-flops and all that stuff on, like you got to have a certain dress code for different jobs, certain environments you walk into. You just want to be dressed for the occasion. Times in our life, seasons in our life that the Lord gives us an opportunity to walk into require of us that we prepare ourselves. So that's what this series is all about. And if you've been around the dwelling, you know how we do series around here. We just keep them going and going and going. And so I don't even know what series we're on or what message we're on right now, but it's the same thing. Get your hearts ready for what I'm going to do. Prepare your heart. Prepare the soil, get the right clothes on for what this next season is going to bring. And we've talked about compassion, we've talked about humility, we've talked about putting on our identity as beloved sons and daughters of God. We've talked about putting on joy, and even in the middle of a storm, walking in joy, choosing joy, because that's what our strength is. It's the joy of the Lord is our strength. And today, I want to jump back on, and this is a message that I put off a few weeks ago, but I want to jump right back to it because it's on humility again. I don't know about you, but I need all the messages on humility I can get because a few weeks go by, okay, I need that again, okay? So I want to talk about humility today. There's just a lot of swirl activity right now with the Lord, just talking through all different kind of ways. We believe that the Word of God is a standard. I already said that this morning. We don't believe you hear anything God says. If this Word doesn't back it up, it's not Him, okay? But I do believe that the Lord speaks in a variety of different ways through people. He's been giving some of you guys dreams and talking to you about like this season of our lives. I mean, people texting me all the time. I dreamed that I had the wrong shoes on last night. Like I got to put new shoes on. And like it's just a theme in our house and theme about storms. And we are in a storm. We are in storms individually, and we are coming into storms. And I think this is just a storm season. And for me, I was just thinking about, Lord, can I just do a Christmas series this December? And just make everybody feel good and give and all that kind of stuff. But no, this is what He's saying. And this is what He's saying this Christmas is if you're in a storm, there are some storms that we are to speak to and to calm. That's what Jesus did on the boat that day. He said, peace, be still. There are some storms that we're meant to ride out with Him, hanging on to that hope, hanging on to joy, hanging on to just His faithfulness in the middle of things that we don't understand. And that's where many of us are right now. But here's what a storm will do. It dumps heavy amounts of rain, which wash things away that didn't need to be there, saturates the ground, prepares for growth, and it fills empty things. So even when I'm in the middle of a storm, what I've got to realize is there's glory on the other side. There's glory on the other side of the storm. But here's what I know. If you're in a storm, and I mean, here's the encouragement. If you're not in one, you're going to be in one soon. Okay? In this world you will have trouble. Jesus said it, but take heart, I've overcome the world. He didn't say because you walk with me you won't ever have a storm or trouble. It's actually a promise. So we just need to be dressed for the occasion. Okay? And so humility is required to walk through these storms and for us to experience the glory on the other side. Everybody say humility. 1 Peter 5, got a Bible. I've become aware of something lately. Is there many of you who take notes? And I realize that I'm not a preacher who takes that into consideration. I'm like, 1 Peter 5, okay, here we go. And some of y'all are like, I wish he'd slow down, So I'm going to give you a minute. 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 5 through 7. We've been in this little passage. I'm going to read it again for us. Clothe yourselves, all of you. Who? All of you. Point to yourself. Say, this message is for me. All right. Clothe yourselves, all of you, with humility toward one another. For God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time He may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Colossians 3, here's another one. Colossians 3, verses 12 through 13 say, therefore, God's chosen ones. You ever thought of yourself that way? Holy and loved, put on, there's the dress for the occasion, put on heartfelt compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, accepting one another, forgiving one another if anyone has a complaint against another. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must also forgive. And then in Micah 6:8, the familiar passage, we wonder about what is God's will for my life. You ever asked that question? It's right here. Here's what he says. He has shown you what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Everybody say, humility is required to weather the storm. So how do we grow in humility? A few weeks ago when I talked about humility, I said this: humble people don't know they're humble, and prideful people don't know they're prideful. It's like bad breath. Your nose is right there, but you don't know it, but the person in front of you does. Well, how in the world are we ever going to recognize that we need to grow in humility if we don't know we're not humble? Well, we just cry out to God. That's what we did last time we talked about humility. God, just give me the grace, break through my hardness, and help me to see my need for you. Help me to see that, in fact, I might be wrong. We just need the grace of God. How many need the grace of God for humility? All of us. But there are some red flags. Y'all seen this stuff on social media. I'm a little late on this, but the little flag thing that everybody's posting, like there's some red flags that I can look at my own life. Now, what you're going to want to do in this message is think about everybody in your family, think everybody you work with, and everybody else, but look at your life and recognize the red flags in your own life, okay? Can we do that or try? Grace of God, come help us. All right. So the big red flag, just talking about one today, about a lack of humility is this: unteachability. The word talks about being teachable, having a teachable spirit, being able to be taught. Some of you English say, whoa, okay, all right. I caught it. A lack of, I'm not going there. I told somebody, I'm not going to say those two little words today. I'm just from, so I'm from Alabama. So I'm not saying anything. Okay, calm down. All right. So a lack of humility shows up in our unwillingness to learn and our unwillingness to be taught. And I'll just tell you, I'm kind of just the bones of this message I got from John Maxwell. I'm just going to give us 3 points, and then we're going to talk about and look at it and kind of dig into it. But John Maxwell, the leadership guru that he is, just so much wisdom. If you don't listen to him, it's awesome. But he said this: there's 3 characteristics of unteachable people. And I wish I could talk like him. If you listen to John, this is how he talks. But he says the 3 characteristics of unteachable people are this: infallibility, inflexibility, and insecurity. Okay, infallibility says, I'm always right. Now, I've never met anybody that would actually say that. I'm always right. Like, what a jerk, But we think that, don't we? Like, when's the last time you admitted you were wrong? That's a good red flag right there. But infallibility says, I'm always right. Inflexibility says, I'm not changing. I've always done it this way. This works for me. This is my, How many know in the kingdom, if you walk with Jesus, it's hard to get comfortable. Like if you're really walking with him, it's real hard to not change. It's like the wind. Just blows where it wills, and such is who is born of the Spirit. It's that kingdom life, that spirit life will lead you places where you're just not comfortable. And to stand like this and say, I'm not changing, You can't weather a storm like that. Because the storm, the wind's all over the place. And so if I'm standing like this and I'm, you just got to go with what he's doing. And so the last one is insecurity. And insecurity says it will cost me to admit that I'm wrong or that I need to learn something. And y'all got quiet because this was a big one right here. That's the big one. Questions to ask yourself in any situation or conflict. So if I'm walking into a situation, if I'm walking into a conversation, if I'm walking into conflict, here's some wisdom, some wise questions to ask my own heart before I go into this situation or conversation. Here we go. Ready? The infallibility thing that says I'm all right or I'm always right. Here's what I ask myself. Could I be wrong? So just have the humility enough to say, I think I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right going into this, and this person's wrong, but there is a lens that I could be seeing through that I don't see the whole picture, that maybe they see a part of it, and that's why we're not seeing eye to eye. That's humility. You say, well, Gunnar, why are you talking about like life skills or whatever? Like, I thought you were supposed to be preaching the word. Well, I just read the word, but the problem is that sometimes we just read the word and we don't apply the word to daily life. This is what being clothed in humility looks like. It looks like walking in there not with all right, I'm going to teach this person something right now. Like, no, it's actually, I could be wrong here. And being open to that. There's something I might not see. How do you find out if you're wrong or not? You listen. You listen. We'd be surprised if we'd listen to people, what we'd learn. But I'm right. And this is what I've always believed, and this is how it is. But if we start having more conversations in the world rather than just mouthing off on social media, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. Like, we're not listening anymore. There might be something that we are wrong about. There might be something we can learn from somebody. And humility is not laying down my convictions and just going with how I feel. No, humility is I have convictions, but they might need to be sanded down a little bit and like rounded off and put in the right context. And like, I just want to be ready. I want to be dressed for the occasion to when I'm in a storm that I actually am humble enough to receive what God has for me in that storm. Okay, and so infallibility, just the question is, could I be wrong? And the solution for this is just listen. Just listen. Number 2, inflexibility. I'm not changing. Here's the question. Is there another way this could be done? Is what I'm doing right now not the only way? If you only have one option, you're facing a hardship or you're facing a big decision and you've only got, well, I got to do this. It's either this or this. It's either wonderful or awful, I'm not going to make a wise decision. I'm just going to be reacting to something, right? If I think the only choice I got is that one, it's going to be reactionary. If I don't have more than 2 options when I'm facing a decision, I've not thought about it enough. Okay? And I'll even expound on that. If I don't have more than 2 options, maybe I've not invited more voices into my life for counsel. If all I can see are these 2 things, like Elizabeth might have another angle at that thing, and Leah might be able to see this differently, and Stefan might come with from wisdom from this side, and there might be more options than I think. And then that eliminates that pressure of black and white thinking of like, it's either I'm gonna bomb my life or I'm gonna rock it. No, there's a lot of gray area in there. A lot of decisions that might actually work, But if I don't listen to other people, I'll never know that I have options. All right, so the last one here is insecurity. It will cost me to admit that I need to learn something. And so the question I need to ask myself is this: am I okay with not being the smartest person in the room? And that's quick to answer, but literally ask yourself that question. Is it okay with me that I don't always have all the answers? Is it okay with me that I actually might have to ask for help? Or is my ego so fragile that even exploring the thought that I might need help or wise counsel or whatever just destroys me? It's an insecurity thing. Proverbs 11:2 says, when pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom. Wisdom is available to me, but wisdom flows down here. And unless I'm willing to get low, I won't tap into the wisdom God has for me. I got to live here. Because if I'm living up here, I got this. I'm missing out. I can't weather a storm that way. In 2015, we were in an 8-year assignment from the Lord in ministry, and we had a dream to plant a life-giving church. We didn't know what that looked like. We just thought, man, we need to learn something, And at the time, it was fear, but it was actually humility. I didn't know it at the time. We're just like, we don't know what we're doing. We just got to go learn. And so we stepped down from that position that we had been in for 8 years just to go learn how to plant a church. And it would be 2 years later before the dwelling was actually launched, which I just feel like a side note coming up of like, if you got a dream from the Lord, it might not happen in 3 weeks. But just showing up faithfully and just doing it, doing what he's called you to do, it might take 2 years before you're ready. Just like we sang about, it's a seed planted. It takes a long time for a tree to grow up and produce fruit. It don't happen overnight. So that's just a side note. But right before leaving, I was scheduled to go on a trip to Nicaragua. And beautiful nation. I mean, like I've never eaten breakfast and watching a volcano. Like that's the way it was. And beautiful people. We were there taking groceries to homes, and we had local church people that were with us, and we would share the gospel, the good news, with these people. And like I've shared the gospel with people, but nothing like what would happen in Nicaragua. Like you would go into these people's home. Of course, they're hospitable and all that. They don't know you got groceries sitting outside, but they're just here to listen to you because you're, from the States or whatever. And you start sharing the gospel, just simple, and they just start weeping. I've never heard this before. I thought I had to do X, Y, Z to be right with God, and you're telling me Jesus paid the debt for me? And of course I want to give my life to him. I never saw him that way before. And so people just weep and they just receive the Lord, whole families. And it was rare, wasn't it? The Hoopers were there with us. It was rare that someone said no. And then we got to bless them with groceries and all that, and they were connected to a local church. It's such an amazing trip. But one of those days on an outing, we went to a potter's house. And I've seen it on TV and all that kind of stuff. They put the thing on the wheel and, you got the pedal. I mean, it was old school too. I mean, it was like primitive pottery happening. And I watched that man take that clay. Now, we had just stepped down from our position, and it was like, what is next? When is this church going to even be? Is it going to be? Like this dream that God put on our hearts. We didn't know when it was going to happen, what it was going to look like, how to do it. And then I got sent off to Nicaragua like immediately. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this guy, and he's taking this thing and he's bam, just working that clay, and it's like beating the life out of it. Like I'm like, I've never seen this before. And he gets it ready, and he's got the water, and he starts to do it, and it looks like a hot mess. And the thing's all sideways, and it's like, on the wheel. And I'm like, this is going to be awesome. What comes out of this, I just know. And it looks chaotic until the potter's hands get on it and apply pressure. And we're so familiar with this analogy, but there was something about seeing it at that season of my life. And I literally had to walk away because I was like tearing up. And I'm like, I literally walked away where I was not near anybody. And I just got with the Lord, and He said, you know, that's the season you're in right now. And this is the season that I'm starting out in this life. I mean, in this season of your life. And there was so much of that just revelation just pouring over me. It's going to be challenging, Gunnar. You're going to be broken. It won't look pretty, but wait till you see on the other side. Wait till you see what happens on the other side. And I honestly don't know that I ever got off the potter's wheel. I don't know how that works. I don't know if He ever gets done with us until the end or what, or maybe there's seasons in our life where we're on that wheel. And I'll tell you, being on the wheel is a lot like a storm. It looks chaotic at first, but His hands get in on it. And he can make something beautiful out of a hot mess. And you may feel like you're in a hot mess this morning. Humility puts you in a position where you can actually be molded and shaped and formed into something beautiful and useful. And so, in that moment in Nicaragua, as I watched this guy smash this clay and then make something beautiful, and I've got something he made sitting in our living room, but as I'm watching that, I'm thinking, that's what I'm going into right now. And part of me, it welled up this like fear thing of like, what is going to happen to me and my family? But then that assurance of He's got His hands on this. He's got His hands on it. And I feel so strongly this morning on the way over here, and I was thinking this the whole worship, and I know I'm not the only one in the room. I feel like this season is a season of just, I've got to be humble because He's wanting to mold me. He's wanting to make something new. He's wanting to make me useful. He's wanting to make me something beautiful. But I can't be like this. I got to get low. I got to be open. I got to get low. I got to be open. And if you're going to weather the storm and come out with glory on the other side, humility, you got to embrace it. You got to embrace humility. And so today, I've been asking the Lord, Lauren's like, what's the end of service look like today? I don't ever know. But here's what I do know the Lord wants to do, is He wants you to just say, here I am. Like, I'm not going to jump off the wheel. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to stay in the chaos. What seems like chaos will soon be order. And what seems like ugly will soon be beauty. And what seems like waste will soon be useful. And I got to trust that because it doesn't look like it right now. But I trust Him because He's a good potter.